What is up, YouTube? KM888 here, and I'm finally here with my Traptrix in-depth deck profile. I promised to do this one to give more explanations to some of the cards that I'm running, to give more explanations about the ratios that I was running on the Belgian Nationals, that I bubbled 17th place in the top 16. Yeah, amazing, but with Traptrix, so I'm still really proud of myself. For today, I am going to go over the deck profile as fast as possible, of course, in portions, and then I'm going to explain the stuff going on. So yeah, first things first, I'm gonna explain the engine that I was using for my Traptrix build. I'm gonna put the cards as well as I can for the video. First things first, triple Myrmelio and triple Mantis, of course. You just have to run this. They give a plus as soon as you normal summon them, and that is amazing. It's all that you need. And it sets up your combo because the Myrmelio can go into Serra with a trap card, and the Mantis searches Arachnocampa. And then you can go into Serra, trigger Arachnocampa, and you get a trap. So that's everything that you want going from there. Double Pudica and double Garden. I'm putting them like this because I like to draw these in conjunction with the card that is placed on top of it. So if I see Pudica, I just love to see Myrmelio as my second card. If I see Garden, I love Mantis to be my second card. Of course, you don't always get them like that, but it's definitely what it is. And then for the two bricks that I was running, it's Dionea and Arachnocampa. Again, Dionea it's a brick, but it's still really good to draw in conjunction with the Pudica because you get Pudica, Field Spell, Serra, and then the second normal summon is Dionea into Pudica, which gives you a Rafflesia on the fifth summon, so they can't nib you at least. So you can still go from there. If you have Arachnocampa, that's most of the time the search from the Mantis, which you can get for Arachnocampa. These are the two bricks. Now, as you can see, I am only playing 10 Traptrix monsters. So there's the 6 that you really want to see, then there's the assembler for the field spell, and then the 2 that you really don't want to see. The reason why I went with one of each, in general, yeah, they are great to see still in your opening hand, and you want the second one from Dionea for the backup, but I just wanted to play a little bit less engine, because truth be told, Traptrix, it ain't meta. It are garbage cards, to say the least. And if you want to win against the meta, you have to go more non-engine. And then go from there, make the deck as consistent as possible to start off, not go for your follow-up plays. You can get to your follow-up plays in different ways. But starting the engine is really important, and then having non-engine backup. That was my entire goal of this deck. So I wanted to downgrade the engine a bit, so only 10 monsters, still 2 field spell, because I think running 2 field spell and 2 Pudica is better than running 1 field spell, 3 Pudica. But this was the bare minimum that you have to run. My logic was that in Traptrix, you brick in 2 ways. You brick if you don't see any monsters, and you brick when you see too many normal summonable monsters. So if you see like Myrmelio plus a Pudica, or with another Dionea, so stuff like seeing 3 or 4 normal summons, that's just it's terrible. So I wanted to downgrade the count for Traptrix. Done. 10 monsters, it's the basic line that I went for. For trap holes, I was only running 2 Holotea, 2 Gravediggers, and 1 Traptrix Trapple Nightmare. The general idea is the same. I wanted to run less trap cards. Trap cards are generically bad in Yu-Gi-Oh! They have to be set, you have to wait a turn, stuff like that. But in Traptrix, of course, they work. You need to trap hole cards to function as an engine. So I was thinking, okay, what do I really need? The 2 Gravedigger Trap Hole is a must these days. If you see one of the Gravedigger Trap Holes, you cannot afford not having the second one in your deck for a Rafflesia, so you can be Nibiru proof. So you have to run a second one. You have to. No ifs and buts about it. Is it bad, this format? No. not at all. Gravedigger's Trap Hole is great against Tempai because you can negate the red one from the hand. It's good against Snake Eye. There are so many cards that trigger in hand or in graveyard. It's crazy. So it's still really good there. It is a hand trap format, so you can negate all the hand traps that you want except for Imperm with the Gravedigger's Trap Hole. And then all the other decks, like Voiceless, you can even negate the Saphira's Grave effect to Ritual Summon. You can negate Low to Special Summon back to the board, so you deny their Omni Negate. It's like stuff like that. Like every meta relevant deck right now has either hand effects or grave effects to abuse, and Gravedigger's Trap Hole is just amazing. Now, if I could, and trap cards would be really great, I would play 3 Gravediggers even. The card is just that phenomenal. Downside, traps are still bad. So, and the fact that you can recycle them with the Dionea is actually the reason that I'm running only 5. I wanted one different trap hole because in testing, if I went up against a lot of decks and I only had the Gravediggers, then the Rafflesia was often dead. Because I would search the Gravedigger Trap Hole for my combo, set it again with Dionea, stuff like that, only having 1 Gravediggers in deck. And then the opponent's on a deck that doesn't use a lot of hand or grave effects, and then I would really have a great time having one other card. So I went with the Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. I saw that it was my best option during testing, especially because this can negate some really good cards during the battle phase. And so yeah, against Tempai, you can just negate the Synchro which attempts to revive, and that's already a good thing. So stuff like that. Against Snake Eye, if they're on the Fire King build, you can destroy the Garunix effect on the field, and because it doesn't have a destruction effect actually, you most of the time stop their play there. Against Snake Eye, like they do everything special summons and triggers. So yeah, this card is actually good. I think this is the 3rd trap hole if you need to run anything. They can play around Floodgate, like the Banishing Trap Hole might seem nice in some matchups, but in general, no. I've even thought about the Trap Hole with Spikes, that if they attack you, you negate the attack, destroy the card, do half of the attack as damage, especially because of Tempai, of course. But in general, I think, okay, if they just have the quick play and I can't stop that, it's still game. So, like, that just sucks. So that's the reasoning for these 3. I didn't want to cut this down below 3 because you go through them like quickly. It's crazy. And then the 2 Holotea is something that I need to explain, I guess. I felt that I could surge this all the time, whether it be with the Myrmelio, whether it be Serra. I could surge this really easily turn 1, no problem. The downside is, of course, you're not going to hard draw it as much, but in general, you only need like 1 of the 5 to see, and you're playing. Like, if you're only on the 1 card combo, like Mantis or Myrmelio, you need 1 of the trap cards to go with that. Again, trap cards are bad, so I wanted to cut them down. I wanted to cut the Traptrix engine down, and this just seemed like the next best thing to cut. I didn't want to cut one of these. They're too good, and they were mandatory in my line of thoughts. The Holotea, sure, you could say that not having the 3rd would miss you out on some grind game, but you're not grinding anymore. Be realistic. This is Traptrix. Either you're going to establish that you're going to win on turn 1, turn 2 at the latest, or you're just going to get OTK'd. It's one of the 2. And I just love this, so yeah. For the engine itself, the last thing I want to say is having only 10 Traptrix monsters seems scary, because you're not going to draw the Traptrix monsters all the time. And because of that, I had to come up with some kind of a solution. It really wasn't that hard. But Parallel Exceed was the thing that I wanted to run with it. A little spoiler for the extra deck for those who haven't seen the deck profile yet. I am running the Almirage. So basically, any hand trap with like any card with 1500 or less, like it can be all of these except for the imperms, of course. You can turn it into an Almirage, and then Parallel Exceed special summons it underneath it. Use the effect, and you can go Pinguicula, and you have the Surge, and you're going to get into your Traptrix combo like this. If you guys don't know the combo yet by now, I can explain that in the comments if you want to, but I think it's kind of standard. But I do recommend playing Almirage right now. The card just adds consistency for the deck, and that's so needed. You can play less Traptrix monsters because you have 3 more to begin with. Like, this has been my lifesaver during the entire event. Because every time that I didn't see a Traptrix monster, I at least had to Parallel Exceed with a hand trap. There was one game that I lost because I only drew 5 hand traps going first. But I mean, sometimes a brick is going to happen, and you have to take 1 or 2 in consideration when you're not playing a meta deck. So the choice of running the Parallel Exceed was a little bit scarier because going second with things like SP Little Knight and Promethean Princess isn't convenient for this card, but in general it performed amazing. This was basically like Traptrix number 11, 12, and 13, and at that point your odds are really good to see anything of it. And on top of that, I was also playing 2 Pot of Prosperity, just for the consistency, to put it out there, just having some more. I think the odds were like, about 70% or something that I saw at least 1 Traptrix monster, and then because of the Parallel Exceeds and the Pot of Prosperity, that actually raised up to like 95% or something, like 90 to 95. I'm not really sure what it was, but I did the math before the tournament, so yeah. I did find the Pot of Prosperities to be really good, even though I was only running 2. When I'm going second, it's either like a lifesaver because I can get to my combo, or when I already did the combo, like I can just use Pot of Prosperity at the end, only banish 3, like not be such a burden on my extra deck, and then like get another hand trap and be happy about it. For more consistency, I also went with the Fenrirs. I figured Fenrir would be really good this tournament. Like, it's Belgium, and just like the Netherlands, it has some form of rogue. I didn't face that much rogue, mostly voiceless and Tempai, to be honest. But these are really great against Tempai as well. If you're going first, you can special summon this. This is an out to their field spell as soon as they use one of the dragons, and then you can actually use your cards again during their main phase 1, which is also really, really important. So yeah. I love the Fenrirs. The only thing I was actually considering was running 1 Rice Heart, the level 4 Keshtira. So I could go Fenrir, Surge the Rice Heart, and then at the end of my combo, like special the Rice Heart by banishing the second Fenrir because you don't care about it anymore. And then you have an additional card to Exceed Summon with. It could have come up because, like, to be honest, like most of the time I specialed Fenrir, and then the second Fenrir was just stuck in my hand and I didn't do anything with it. But like in general, I still love this. It could be a thing to play a Rice Heart as another card, but I wouldn't know what to cut then. Like maybe you could cut the TC Boo for it, but I already filled its spot in for right now. Not sure how I'm gonna go into the future with the new sets coming out, but yeah. And that was basically everything that's engine related. I was really happy if I could just go Fenrir plus 4 hand traps, because that shit is actually crazy. Not a lot of decks play through Fenrir plus 4 different hand traps, which is also really good. And Fenrirs were like false going second cards, I think. They're kind of fake, because if the opponent has a board, summoning the Fenrir is just going to like get outed, of course, and it doesn't do anything. But in a simplified game state, the card is massive. Now for hand traps, let's see if I put them right on the screen. I was on 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Ghost Ogres, no Rabbit. Triple Ghost Mortar and Moonlit Chill. Let's see if it's still on the screen. Triple Effect Veiler and Triple Infinite Impermanence. They are the most generic hand traps right now, and they were all amazing. 15 pieces. Sometimes I wish I had more, but post-siding that was really easy to do, playing more than 15. But these really worked well. As said before, I played 3 Voiceless, and like the Ghost Ogres, they're amazing against the Voiceless, just hitting everything that you want. Yeah, it was really great for me for having these 15. I wouldn't really want to main deck any other during the tournament, but in going into next format with Gimmick Puppets and everything else that's coming out, I might include the Bestials instead of the Fenriers. I'm still working with that, but definitely a work in progress. But in the tournament, this was amazing. It worked like a charm. I went with 3 ofs this time instead of having like some mediocre ratios. Like I think before I played 2 Ghost Ogres, 2 Mourners, and then I played 2 Bells. But to be honest, Bell is kind of, it's not the best hand trap right now, and these were really more valuable. And I got the advice of like just get over it and look at it in a more mature way and just play 3-offs because it's more consistent. And I just did it, and in playtesting it was amazing, so I kept doing that. And it's also the reason why I play so many 3-offs in the deck instead of 2-offs. And yeah, it actually helps. Like these, I count them as like the same purpose, like 4 cards for the engine to go off. And yeah, everything that I needed was in 3-offs, and everything that I just wanted to search was either a 1-off or something else. Like I didn't care. I just wanted these to be 3-offs. And that worked out. For the last card, I was running TC Boo during the tournament. As said before, I've only seen TC Boo twice during the entire tournament, and I didn't even have to use it. So a lot of people were already asking what I'm going to change it with. And for now, I think I'm going to add Call by the Grave instead. The card is great in general. It's really good into the meta, and why not, right? The card is at 1, so I can just as well draw the 1-off, right? So yeah. And that was already it for the main deck. I think I've explained most of the things. Yeah. Don't think I have to go over anything else from the main deck. Extra deck was really self-explanatory. I was on 3 Serra and then the Almirage. I already explained the Almirage. I really think this card is a mandatory pick right now for Traptrix. Hit low on the Traptrix monsters. Play the Parallel Exceeds. This card is just going to win you games then. And then in the rare situation where you actually do the combo and you go Almirage, you have Serra on the field and they go Lightning Storm, you can actually protect one of your cards with the Almirage. So that's funny. Let's see for where the cards are. For other links, I was in Masquerena, Little Knight, Adipus, and Access Code Talker. I actually went into 5,300 Access Code Talker a couple of times, and I got to pop like 3 cards twice, because I went into the Almirage earlier, and then I had a Fire, I had a Dark, and I had an Earth. Really nice, and it actually worked out, and it was really great to use this card again. Next format, after Infinite Forbidden, this card is even going to be better, because then I'm going to try to play with the like the illusion monster, the rabbit with the hat, top hat, whatever it's called. That's a light, so yeah, giving me another attribute. But in general, the links were fine. I don't need to explain anything about these. If I need to explain anything about my extra deck, it's probably the Exceeds. So Pinguicula, Rafflesia, Redoer, Baguska, really good card to go into with them against Tempai, and also Voiceless Voice, because they often only have all their rituals, and you can just summon this first, putting everything into defense, and if they don't have the immediate out, you can just start link climbing with your other cards, because you can still trigger Serra, get 2 bodies, go into Adipus, pop their card, go from there. You can just go Like if you have Serra and you can trigger it past the Baguska, you can go Little Knight, banish something, then go into Adipus, destroy something, and then if you have another and then you can just get rid of your own Baguska, go into Access Code Talker, 5300, pop the last cards, and then maybe attack for game. But yeah, Baguska in general was a really good card for me during the tournament. I got to use it a couple of times and it always helped. Went back into Exiton. I thought, like I had a spot left and I thought, going second, maybe I need this. And I actually used it twice. Blew up the board, attacked for 0. Went into Zeus. Zeus still really a good card. Damn. And it just threatens things, like your opponent has to commit multiple cards up into the board when there's a Zeus. You can just blow it up. You're fine from there. And then the Typhon. Card doesn't come up as much as you think sometimes, but when your opponent's comboing off and you've hand trapped a couple of times, sometimes you're stuck with one monster, and then you can't really do anything, so you just go with the monster, maybe use the effect, get a surge, and if you can just go Typhon, bounce, and then attack for some damage, sometimes that's enough. I had a situation against Sprite, Runic Sprite. I used hand traps. He stayed with a very small board. My turn came, did some plays, and I couldn't get over one card, but I still had a monster. So I just went, okay, Typhon over it, bounce the Gigantic, and then he didn't have any more cards. So even though we had to top deck, with one of the traps that I had still, he couldn't get through it anymore. So that's all that you need sometimes. When it comes to Prosperity, like the Typhon, the Zeus, and the Exiton are things that I often banish these when going first. Because when you're going first, you're going to commit to a board already. And you really don't want to use these 3. There are matchups that you don't do that, but you need to know the matchups really good. It's sometimes hard to decide what to banish, but you have to look at each matchup individually. But in general, these 3 are really great picks to banish when going first. When going second, you keep these in, except against Voiceless, because against Voiceless, the Typhon doesn't do a thing. But in general, going second, going first, these go out. What do I often side out as well? It's either a Serra or an Almirage. If I already have combo with Traptrixes, then I don't need the Almirage. So it often gets banished from Prosperity. If I don't have a Traptrix monster already, but I do have hand traps or a Parallel Exceed, one of the two, I keep this in for my combo just in case that I need it, and that always works out. So yeah. What other cards do I often banish? The Baguska sometimes, if I know that it isn't Tempai or Melodious, then the Baguska doesn't really work out as well. Like against all form of Link decks, the Baguska isn't that great. So sometimes this is a really good card to banish. Sometimes I've banished the Access Code Talker because I figured it's a control game, and then you can just try to get it into control game and you don't need the access code as much. And then of course I've also banished the Masquerena a couple of times. When you need the 6 banishes, you really need to consider what you have to do. Like, you need to keep these because otherwise you're not going to win, versus what you can do. And sure, there are 8 cards here you can pick. That's the thing, of course. When going second, I even banish Rafflesia sometimes, because when you're going second, you try to break the board, and you often don't have enough materials left to go for a Rafflesia. I mean, why do you need a Rafflesia at that point? Just wipe their board with something else. And then often I just banish both of these already if I have place. So, yeah. I don't think I've banished these at all. So, always keep these in the deck just in case. But these I've banished in like all different orders with the prosperity. Depending on the matchup, depending if you're going first, like you name it. Banishing with prosperity is a really delicate subject. Actually, it's really difficult sometimes. Side deck patterns, I was on double Phantasme, and I had triple Nibiru as well in the side, but I've only sided them in a couple of times and saw them twice, but they never came up. So I took them out again. I figured I needed something else, and I've put the Cosmic Cyclones instead in it. During the tournament, I was on Nips, so pretend these are Nips. But I really suggest playing these just in case there's a Runic Stun player at your tournament, or some lap players. This is still really good. So yeah, I don't think you need it against the single Floodgate. Like if it's Snake Eye, they're playing Skill Drain. I don't think you need the Cosmic Cyclone for that. I wouldn't recommend siding this in against Snake Eye as well. For Snake Eye, I'm already on 2 Phantasme. I have the Magnamut and the Druid's Worm, and I'm also on double Forbidden Droplets. So you have 6 cards that you're siding in against Snake Eye, on top of the 15 hand traps that you already have. And you have the Fenrir's as well. Depending if you're going first or second, you keep in the Fenrir's or you don't. Going first against Snake Eye, I still like to side this in. But then I also keep in the Fenrir's, because if you open Fenrir plus Bystial, you can just get into your Fenrir's and then still do the Bystial afterwards. If you're going second and you open Fenrir plus Bystial, you often don't get the chance to actually drop the Fenrir. So I just side them out then. Going second is basically these or the Fenrir's. It's your choice at that point. But this is something that's really powerful against Snake Eye, siding this in on top of what we already have. So yeah. But to complete the hand traps, let's see if this is still on screen. Yeah. So I was also on 3 Skullmeisters. You guys already know how I love these in Traptrix. If you have to normal summon this to get over a SP Little Knight, so be it. This thing has 1700 attack, so it's possible. It's a level 4, so in the rare situation where you have Garden with Skullmeister and a Arachnocampa or something, you can just normal summon the Skullmeister, use the Garden to summon the Arachnocampa, and then use those 2 for a Pinguicola. So or any other Exceed for that matter, or to make a Link 2, you can go Arachnocampa into Serra, then make your own SP Little Knight. You have a lot of options just because this is also a level 4. Countering grave effects though, this card is a must in Traptrix. Cards that you hate, Transaction Rollback. You hate Big Welcome Labyrinth. You hate the Saphira Voiceless card because it allows them to ritual summon, get their plays going. Sure, you can preemptively banish it, but then if they get another one, like Skullmeister and the Gravedigger Trap Hole are your best friends in that matchup. This card has won me so many games. No one sees it coming, and because it interacts in a weird way with your opponent. Just negates the graveyard effect. It doesn't banish the card. It doesn't destroy anything. So they often can't protect what they're trying to do. And no one is playing Skullmeister, so cross out also isn't an option, and that makes the only way that they can stop this is most of the time Call by the Grave. Yeah, I just love this. These cards are amazing, so yeah. No ifs and buts about it. Play Skullmeister if you're on Traptrix. And then for these spells, I've already said it. They were Nips, but they should be Cosmic Cyclones. Just get rid of the Runic Fountain. I got stunned out really badly. You can already tell. Double droplets. These were amazing, but with the amount of hand traps that are already running, I didn't think I'd need the 3rd droplet. And to be honest, 2 were fine. I saw it, I think, twice or 3 times during the entire tournament. But how many more times do you actually want it? Card was great. And then triple D barrier. To be honest, this card was really good. I sided in a couple of times and it worked. I even sided in against the Runic Sprite because I wanted to stop fusions or exceeds. And I got to use it for fusions once, and then the turn after I drew another one and got to use it for Exceed. So yeah, this card is just really good. Also, it can trigger Serra in a pinch, which is also really nice. I don't think I have to explain anything more about this. I can go over my siding patterns, but I mean, all the matchups are different. Like, as I said before, against Snake Eyes, you side in the two Phantasmes, the Bestials, and the Forbidden Droplets. Against Tempai, you just side in the Droplets and the the Dimensional Barriers. You can side in the Cosmic Cyclones, but it's only to counter the field spell, and you have a lot more to counter the field spell in your main deck already. You can go Holotea into Serra so you can get Mermelio, or just Holotea with Mermelio from the graveyard. You have Fenrir for that. There are a couple of ways to actually destroy the field spell. Also, you can just go Redoer and just bounce the field spell as well. So you have ways to get around that, and I wouldn't really recommend going with Cosmic Cyclone, but it is an option. The downside versus Tempai is that Lightning Storm is a thing, so you have to protect it with the Arachnocampa. But yeah. But most of the time I just side in these 5 against Tempai, so yeah. Against Voiceless Voice, definitely the 2 Bestials, the triple Skullmeister, the 2 Droplets. Going first, you can also side in the 3 Dimensional Barriers, and going first, you can also side in the Cosmic Cyclones. I wouldn't recommend going second, maybe, because you're starting to get a lot of non-engine into your deck, and you can also not cut all the engines, so yeah. Is there another big matchup? Like, not really. Melodious maybe, but against Melodious it's kind of the same as against Tempai and Snake Eye combined. You can go with the Bestials, you can go with the Droplets and the D-Barriers. But I didn't face a Melodious to begin with. Yeah, so I think those are the most prominent matchups right now. I don't think I'm missing anything. Yeah, for the future, stuff is going to change. I'm probably going to main deck the Bestials because Fiendsmith is a thing. The Gimmick Puppets are going to be a thing. Whitewoods are those lights and darks? I think they're lights and darks, right? I'm not really sure, but there's going to be so much more cards in the graveyards, and these are going to help. But yeah, we'll see for that. I think this is going to be my in-depth video. I'm really talking half an hour already again. It's actually not that bad. I thought it would be worse. But yeah, see you guys in the next one. If you have any questions, comment down below. Leaving a like or subscribe would really matter a lot to me because I'm only starting out, I guess. And yeah, keep on commenting. Give me ideas on what you guys want, because that's really hard for me at the moment. So yeah, see you in the next one. Ciao.